Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Talking About Stuff with Nick. I'm your host, Nick. Damn, haven't said that in a long time, have I? um, yeah, I've been busy with school and shit like that. Plus, I haven't really found stuff to talk about. Plus, my stream sucks because it keeps stopping and starting, so I'm literally just there like, fuck. So I never know if my stream's working. So yeah, also, I've had a haircut, so if I do that thing where I just rub the back of my head, excuse me. Let me vibe. Right, so today, I'm gonna plug my mouse in. Hold on. I have Pringles next to me, I've gotta move all this shit. Can you hear that? Great. Date. Let's go. Right, Ubisoft's flop Hyperscape needs a Rainbow Six Siege comeback. Okay, so I played Hyperscape and it was alright. I played it with my friend. We came 8th one time. We were really proud of ourselves. And we played it, and one thing we noticed is that with Hyperscape, there was not really much of a damage system, if that makes sense. Because the aim of the game, if people don't know what Hyperscape's about, is about it's Battle Royale, typical Battle Royale, but you're playing with you can play with hacks and stuff like that. And you can upgrade your powers and your weapons by getting the same hacks every time to upgrade them. So, for example, if you had a minigun, and you just obtain a minigun that you found on the floor, it would be level 1 hack, and you'd keep obtaining different the same hack, pardon me, of the minigun till you get to level 4 or level 5, I think is its max. And it's the same with you actually get these special abilities that, or also hacks as well, that need to increase your abilities to a better level. I don't know if they're called hacks or if they're just your weapons need to level up, and okay, let's call them just and the special abilities are your hacks. Let me restart from there. So these hacks that you got, they're trying to bend the rules of battle royale. Oh, you can teleport, or you can slam down, you can build walls and stuff like that. You can go into a ball and get away and stuff like that. So they've all got different mini abilities. Some of them are more offensive based, some of them are very defensive in the sense of if you need to run away, use your little teleport to blink away and whatever, but you need to upgrade them as well, or else they're kind of just useless and do no damage. That sounds hella interesting, but the thing is that it's hard for people who are in the middle of nowhere, especially in an open world called Arcadia. I think it's called Arcadia. And this open world sort of, arena, and you just can't find any hacks because they're so scattered about that you can't find any hacks for your gun. So you can find random other guns, and you could say, oh, well, that's the point of the game. Yeah, but it just makes it really unenjoyable that people are so lucky and they get level 5 loot whilst I'm stuck with my level 1 pistol, and I'm just what? Yeah, me and my friend, bless him, he found the meta was the minigun, because all the other guns just didn't do enough damage, and it was really just so lackluster. When you killed someone, it felt fucking amazing, because it took about 10 minutes to kill someone. It doesn't take a quick pop body shot and they're down, but it takes fucking ages, because even a minigun is a fucking pea shooter in this game. Ubisoft is intent on orchestrating a Rainbow Six Siege style comeback for its rapidly waning Hyperscape Battle Royale shooter. Hyperscape launched back in July and is yet another entry in the already saturated Battle Royale genre. It's basically that game. What was the FPS game that I always talk about? That guy was on, and he's oh, I only gave it to Xbox. No, he gave it to PS4 and PC, but didn't give it to Xbox, and he was wow, them Xbox fanboys are so salty. Oh, Lawbreakers. When Lawbreakers was a thing, and it was really everyone just kept comparing it to Overwatch, that's when you fucked up. Is when games are constantly being compared to, is when your game is being constantly compared to something else, and I'm just there what the fuck. Despite offering an ever so slightly different spin on the tired Battle Royale fatigue, Hyperscape moment in the spotlight was all too brief. Twitch streamers loved it for about a week and then gave up. Novel Twitch integration and big name influence sessions at launch saw Hyperscape grab headlines. Nevertheless, the game soon faded into obscurity as those whose interest was initially picked returned to genre mainstays. I'm sorry, I don't know why my reading's off today. Picked or picketed? No, there's no T. Jesus. Yeah. I remember when the integration of Twitch was like a big like pillar of the game, but then I realized I'm on PlayStation and not many people play Hyperscape on PlayStation and are not big Twitch streamers. They're all on, PC. And then you could say, I think they might have integrated. I'm not sure about this, but they want to integrate crossplay. Then I'm just scared that hackers are just going to ruin the fun for console players, And the Twitch thing. Okay, so what happened was, to give a basis of like how it worked, was, so for example, a Twitch streamer would be in the game, and all the other players would be noted in this Twitch player stream, and then it'd be like, okay, blah 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 blah, and basically, like, all the other players who aren't a Twitch streamer would be like notified, hey, there's a Twitch streamer in your game, and if they're like got a high enough view count and whatnot, if they had a high enough view count, the viewers would be in control of how the game starts. So like these special events that they have, like, a double XP event, a health boost event, they would be there, but like the audience of the big Twitch streamer who's in the game would choose what to do. So it's kind of like in the Hunger Games, they acted as the capital and they would choose what would happen. They're like, they'd be like, let's give some, health points to this guy, beep 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 beep, and all that shit, because that's how fucked up a dystopian this game is. Like, we have to copy the Hunger Games. It's great. Kind of weird though. I was just like, I didn't really see much of it when I played, because like, I don't know, nothing really happened. Like, there were events, but there's never like, a Twitch streamer's in your game. And I feel like even if there was, it wouldn't be a big thing, unless like, I don't know, like if the audience could choose which areas get cut off and stuff. I don't know if they can, but it just if they could, that would have been kind of cool. But like, it just feels weird. The damage of the guns and like the Twitch integration was very like lackluster for me and very underwhelming. It's fair to say that Ubisoft was very late to the game, piercing into a saturated genre dominated by the likes of Fortnite. Also, fun fact, Fortnite isn't the most popular game on Twitch, it's Among Us, so fuck yeah. Right, Apex Legends and Warzone stood as a considerable barrier to success. Yeah, all those games did very well because they managed to twist it in their own way. So COD managed it to make it like, they all had an established, had to establish themselves as unique to like get ahead. But with COD already had that advantage with, COD being one of the biggest FPS genres, one of the biggest FPS games in the shooter genre. Bro, I need to like stop mincing my words, man. And I think that gave them like a big head start. And with Apex Legends, it had the sort of, it twisted the Fortnite formula and was like, hey, let's add more characters. Let's add, different guns. Let's have a different art style. And that means they separated themselves from Fortnite. With Hyperscape, yeah, it had this different formula, but they're just late, So people were pushed away from the Battle Royale because it got repetitive and stuff. And then Ubisoft's there like, look at us, we've made a Battle Royale game, huh? Hyperscape needs some serious work. Ubisoft candidly concedes in a new update that it failed to meet high expectations of our players. As it exists today, Hyperscape exists in a no man's land between being too challenging for newcomers and too dull for established players to stick around. Yeah, definitely. The challenge was, for me, like, I could adapt to it, but like my friend who was really into Battle Royales, he just like vibed and was like, there. But then the thing that held us all back was just the guns weren't doing enough damage. The hacks were really like underperforming for us because we had to like we couldn't really find a lot of the hacks themselves to like utilize them as our abilities. So we'd build a wall and the wall would last for like 2 seconds because it's only level 1. It was stupid. Up for the challenge, Ubisoft is rejigging the Hyperscape development teams in a cell-based format. This allows greater focus on autonomy on specific aspects of the game, like what Siege did. They took this apparent approach with excellent results in the past, chiefly with Rainbow Six Siege. The publisher successfully transitioned the game from a rocky launch to a firm berth as a mainstay for the competitive FPS esports scene. It was a good at the start, like it was a good. I remember I bought it from like at the start, me and my brother, and it was a good cop shooter kind of vibe, you know, very serious and stuff like that. And then it started to like expand its horizons by adding new operators. I think me and my brother joined in Operation Skull Rain when Caveira and Capital was like a big thing. And like it was really cool because Caveira's ability was like, yo, it was like a global ability and shit like that. It was really amazing because you could see through walls and shit. And everyone called it OP, and which her Louison used to be like 99 damage. And now it's like 60. But we don't talk about that, Nick. Don't be salty. But then Siege was coming out with very good content, and I feel like the perfect time for Siege for me was year 1 and year 2, and maybe the start of year 3, but that's it. And it was perfect because I found like this sort of, I had friends who I could play it with. There was like very interesting game, like characters and like maps and stuff like that, and it didn't feel very oversaturated. And now, and it felt just as realistic as it could. So for example, coming from my boy Gregor, a lot of love to him, he talks about how, you know, Siege was a realistic game, and like Operation Chimera was when it like drifted out of it to like try and appeal to a more like diverse audience whilst trying to stick to its roots of being like, oh, it's a realistic, gritty, you know, game. And Lion and Finca were the people who were very like, you know, quote from Gregor, he looks like a coronavirus cup fighting cop, you know, when he's talking about Lion. And I liked that a lot because I think he did. He looked very like, he had this kind of like mix of, oh, he's a badass like character, but he's also like, he looks like he'd be on the front lines in his like hazmat suit and stuff, trying to stop everything. And for the zombies mode, I think the zombies mode was amazing. I'm still waiting on Rainbow Six Siege Quarantine. I feel like it's never going to come out. So if people pre-order it and it never comes out, bro, I'm so sorry. If you've pre-ordered it now and you like, you know, you want it, I feel like you've got to wait a long time, broski. Like, I'm sorry. Okay, so there's going to be like little cells for Hyperscape. So they're going to talk about combat comfort, which is saying how, yeah, it's too hard to aim, track, and consistently damage right. That's what I'm talking about, okay? I'm highlighting it. Consistently damage players and eliminate them. That's what it was. Because they made like all the guns really low powered, but you need to upgrade them to make them like, you know, mediocre and like a normal gun. That was so stupid in my opinion. The game does not currently provide enough time and opportunities for new players to learn and succeed. Yeah, I never really, when I was playing, I never felt like, oh, I've got a cool tactic, let's try it, and it never really worked. Like, there was a tactic of, hey, let's just go to the roof and like try and survive. Like, that was it. You know, I was so confused about most of the game because I didn't know like what the meta was. Like, we figured out one part of it, but there were like more metas. Like, there was like ball and wall methods and metas, pardon me. And I was just like, what? Jesus. Game modes. I'll call game mode. Crown Rush can be quite unforgiving, so to provide players with a variety of formats in terms of activity and match size. Oh yeah. So when it comes to the last 10 players in Hyperscape, a crown is found somewhere, and you gotta hold, and you gotta grab this crown and hold it for like a minute, and then you can win because you've got the crown. Or you could just kill everyone. And I just found that a bit like, you know, oh great. People were trying to hype that up as like their selling point, and I was very like, okay, I don't know how to respond to that because it just sounds like, you know, King of the Hill almost. You know, you own it for the most amount of time and like you win. It's stupid. Player goals. And yeah, okay. Currently there is not enough medium and long-term goals for players to stick around in Hyperscape. Yeah, there's like a really shit battle pass and you're like, oh, you get a green skin. And I'm just like, ugh, stupid. Oh, here we go. Crossplay. They're going to implement it, okay? While crossplay has been intended for the game, we wanted to add it earlier than planned to help address the current issues of lobby size. Lobby size I didn't really notice. I thought it was like, what was it, 60 players maybe? I don't know how many players it was, but it wasn't like 100. It was like just a small amount, which I kind of liked because it wasn't very, it wasn't too much for me. Like I could kind of cope with it rather than just like be attacked by 100 like 8-year-olds on Fortnite. I stopped playing Fortnite back when you could like team kill your teammate. Oh god, I loved that so much. If anyone can do it, it's Ubisoft. Well, now they're getting, people are calling them out for their toxic workplace. I don't know. The question is whether there's enough in Hyperscape's core concept to set it apart from the rest, even after a major gameplay-focused facelift. Time will tell whether Ubisoft is flogging a dead horse. I feel like it won't succeed, and I feel bad for that because they did try to like push out the genre to newer waters and newer pastures, and like it just kind of didn't work. So yeah, but they've had a comeback before, and I'll eat my words if Hyperscape does become one of the top battle royale games, and even becomes quite popular on Twitch. But yeah, I'm not holding my breath. Even Google has given up on the Stadia with its latest Chromecast. Wow! The Stadia's doing bad? Who would have predicted this? Alright, quick thing. Stadia is a streaming gaming console, and I want to talk about this. Now, streaming films, streaming music makes sense, because it's only like a bit of packet. Like it's a bit of packet in like data terms. A data packet, that's the word. But streaming games, there's a lot to it, and you've got to add to it. So you've got to fucking have good, you've got to think about the movement of the character. You've got to think about lag. You got to think about the fucking textures and graphics. So that's why I never really had faith in streaming consoles. Even when in that BioBox article we read on BBC about the guy, I was like, I love it because I can play on it, and my kids don't, feel rejected by me and, isolated because I fucking don't, talk to them, and I'm just there like, what? You could just buy a Wii U or something, like, bruh. Google held its late night in hardware event. This is 2 weeks ago, so I'm going to say 2 weeks ago. The tech giant unveiled a brand new Chromecast with the Google TV streaming device. The dongle won't launch with support for the company's Stadia cloud gaming service. I don't like when Google releases a product and then just never talks about it. Instead of acknowledging that it's failed, they just go, whatever. Let's just leave it alone. I bet you there's so many Google Glass in the back of a Google warehouse, and that he's just there like, fuck. What do I do with them? I don't know, just give them away for free or something. I'd love to have one, but I'm not a fucking loner, I'm not that desperate. Oh god, the Stadia story takes another strange turn. Google's newly announced Chromecast with Google TV is launching devoid of support for the company's less than a year old Stadia cloud gaming service. Less than a year old? I thought it was 2 years old, man. Quarantine really has elongated time for me. I thought quarantine was a year long, to be honest. Oh my god. The dongle unveiled during yesterday's Google late night in hardware launch event arrives with no Stadia app, despite offering support for over 6,500 content streaming apps. Google says it doesn't plan to integrate support until the first 6 months of 2021. Because I need to see people buy it first, because no one's really buying it. I feel like with the Stadia, the PS5's coming out soon, and so is the Xbox One X, One something. I don't know the name of it, because people were saying it was Project Scorpio, nothing happened with that. Then it was the Xbox One S, One X, S, but then people were buying the wrong Xbox, thinking it's the new Xbox because of name titles. Why can they just go, I don't know, the Xbox 2 or something? Or Xbox 2.0 or something, because fucking I couldn't tell what the different Xboxes are, because it was 360 and then 1, and I was like, what? Okay. With PS, at least they go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, innit? Just Jesus. The Stadia's had a tough time since launching late last year. Google's been slow to get the service off the ground and deliver the promise hotly touted in pre-launch marketing. Yeah, because someone was playing Mortal Kombat X on the Stadia, and the lips were out of sync for the cutscenes. It was very slow, very laggy if they wanted input moves. I think there was input lag as well. And it's just because streaming a game and not actually like having a physical copy that can be downloaded to a system means that the internet's got to do much more work, and not many people have amazing internet, you know, especially like for me in Britain. We don't have amazing. I don't have amazing internet. I can barely stream on my PS4. Like, go watch my fucking PS4 streams and see how horrendous they are. Like, bruh. Mr. Beast fan, save more. No, bro. I don't care. The trailer was weird. But yeah, at launch, Stadia games are only playable through the Chromecast Ultra dongle before the company expanded functionality to PC, Mac via Chrome and Android devices. Bizarrely, Google now only sells the Chromecast Ultra as part of the Stadia Premier Edition bundle, but not individually. Those looking to experience Stadia on a TV have little choice but to fork out $100 for the Premier kit. It's so weird. Omitting support on the flagship successor to a device packaged as a core part of the Stadia's launch ecosystem certainly implies Google doesn't view Stadia in the same light as previously. Yeah, because they've just realized it's shit, you know? And there's got to be technical hurdles because, like, it's streaming, like I said. Plus, if they want to play on multiplayer, if they want to play like co-op games and multiplayer games online, then they've got to, like, you know, their internet has to like stream the game itself and then actually like stream like the multiplayer lobby and stuff, and that's gonna be like really, really hard. I'm not surprised the Stadia has blown up. Like, bruh, I would have just fucking, because fucking it can't handle that much. Like, you know, it doesn't have that much capacity to hold all that and like to transmit all that data to your TV. Like, bruh, I couldn't just imagine. Google's confidence in the cloud gaming service appears to be waning. So did everyone else. Everyone else, when they first saw it, was like, nah, it's not going to work. Like, bruh. A company that has devised the most sophisticated indexing algorithm and personalized advertising empire known to man to be stumped. He needs to put a comment there. To be stumped by a 2-inch dongle is hard to grasp. That is, unless Google has finally given up on the Stadia, or at least reined in its ambitions for the service considerably. AKA, please stop trying to make streaming services a thing, because it's not going to work, okay? Like, subscription services for games, that makes sense. But fucking streaming games? Nah, that wouldn't make sense. Former Cyberpunk 2077 dev talks about their experience with crunch. Cyber 2077 is 5 weeks away from release, and employers putting in overtime behind the scenes. A former CD Projekt Red employee has spoken out about their experiences of crunch within the studio. I'm sad about this because CD Projekt Red was meant to be the good company, okay? And then they're like, oh, we'll never crunch and shit, and now they're being hypocritical and going against their fucking like their ethics, and then they're just working people overtime, and that's like horrible, because I don't want another Rockstar or Naughty Dog where everyone leaves because of like the really bad work environment, thus leading to a subpar game when the next game comes out, because we've lost all its good artists and they've been replaced with not as experienced people. Right, how many weeks is it till Cyberpunk? Let's check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. What? Hold on, I've counted that wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What? I'm dumb. Whatever. Yeah, 5 weeks then, or 6 weeks. Back in May 2019, CD Projekt Red employees were promised by management that there would not be mandatory crunch hours for Cyberpunk. I don't endorse it, because I feel like it's just gonna make a game become rushed at the end. It'll be like, oh, it's really good in the middle, then they just rush at the end and try and like input as much as they can. I felt The Last of Us 2 was rushed a bit when it came to like characters such as Abby. But we're not going into that. We're not going into that today, because I know that it will just turn into a 4-hour stream of me ranting about The Last of Us. This promise from CD Projekt Red backflipped last month when a crunch order was emailed to employees stating they would be expected to work their ordinary number of hours a week plus a day on the weekend. Adam Bazowski released a statement saying that he was personally taking this backlash upon himself and all CD Projekt Red employees would be fairly compensated for that overtime. I respect that, but he's still done it, and I feel like that's a shit thing to do, even when you promised it. Like, how can we kind of trust you if you're gonna like pull shit like this on us? Further sources seem to reveal that many CG Projekt Red employees were agreeable to the crunch order, but new insight from Jason Schreider reveals that's not exactly the case. Schreider asked CG Projekt Red employees whether they wanted to crunch to avoid further delays for Cyberpunk, to which they told him that these conversations never took place. A response on Reddit from a former CD Projekt Red dev is where things get really interesting. The employer claims that the crunch order is just the start of a list of toxic behavior. Oh my god, my music stopped. Giddy. Okay, we're gonna carry on reading. Okay, apparently devs were told. Okay, where was I? A response from Reddit The employee claims that the crunch order is just the start in a list of toxic behavior from CG Projekt Red upper management towards developers. Apparently, devs were told that there was no plan B if Cyberpunk's original deadline couldn't be met. This then changed later in months as Cyberpunk was pushed back twice, but the source claims that devs were not told about these release delays. First, a 2-month delay, then another 6 months of delay, and to give a picture of how low level of communication between management and developers is, we found out both times on Twitter and on other social medias that the game was being delayed, with a mail from Adam a few hours later. You know, that's like a really weak business structure, as in if you're not going to talk, you know, it's a tall one, isn't it? Not a flat one. So, bro, that sucks. Oh yeah, he needs to keep himself like anonymous, or else he's gonna get fucked over by like CG Projekt Red. You know, that's kind of sad. Every time this was addressed, oh my god, it's about the crunch. Every time this was addressed, you'd get the usual copy paste spiel that about we are fueled by passion, we are rebels, this is not for everyone, and other such copy and paste slogans, which was a cool way of saying we have no idea what we are doing, but we have infinite cash and we fix everything with more crunch. Bruh, this guy has no chill. Oh my god. I personally had a blast working there. I was Schreider. Decided the only way to finish the game was to do the death march. The person told me. I've heard this sentiment from a few other people. I've heard it said about Naughty Dog and a couple of other game companies. Exactly. Why is it so common? I don't get it. I know they want to finish a game and a product, but at the end of it, if you just rush it, it's not going to get done. It's not going to do well, is it? And why is my music stopping? This is great. I feel like my OBS is not working. Could he eat? Right. Should I just redo it? Hold on. I don't like sitting in silence, man. Probably not gonna work, but there's no point trying. There is a point trying. Oh, it's not even blooming loading. Fuck it, I'm just gonna hope it works. Grunge culture has been a huge problem for CG Projekt Red and similar game studios, with the game's launch often prioritized over the well-being of workers. I keep referring to this case, and I want to find out who it's from, but I feel like it was all anonymous, and I couldn't say that this guy sat in his car and he had like steamed pot noodles for like a week because he couldn't eat anything else, and that sucked because like that's really bad for your health and must really fuck with your psyche. Cyberpunk 2077 launches on PC, PS4, and Xbox on November 19th, with the game playable day one on Xbox Series SX and PlayStation 5. A PS5 and Xbox Series X optimized version of the game won't be released until 2021, but CD Projekt Red has confirmed it will be made available for free to all players. That's good, but still, it's fucked up. Top mod site bans all US political mods for the rest of the year. Yeah, or who was it? Fucking, I have no Nexus Mods. That's it. Nexus Mods has been like not delaying, deleting like many political mods because they're trying to like make sure it's not a fucking hell fucking zone on their website where it's full of like far right or far left political views. So, for example, Nexus mods is popular for like Skyrim and stuff, for like Skyrim mods, Fallout mods. There's a mod where all like the enemies in Skyrim, all the human NPCs had Trump tops on them, and they say like "I love Trump," and then like you can kill him and stuff. Sorry, that's just funny to me. I know. I apologize. Okay, so they put a post saying, considering the low quality of the mods being uploaded, the polarizing views they express, and the fact that it's a small but vocal contingent of our users are seemingly not intelligent or grown up enough to be able to debate the issues without resorting to name calling and baseless accusations without proof, indicative of the wider audience issues plaguing our world and audience at this time. We've decided to wipe our hands clean of this mess and vote an outright bang on mods relating to the socio-political issues of the United States. Then we just go into like, then that can just mean anything about the United States can just get banned or something. If it was, even if it was positive, like I don't know, discussing about how, there's, fucking homelessness in like fucking America. Imagine if they talked about that. Would that get banned? Even anything positive, will that get banned? And it's like, you can't avoid, it goes back to the simple thing of you can't avoid politics in your games, you know, because if you do, the game won't do well and the game won't be considered realistic and it'll just be like left behind and maybe even seen as like archaic by some people if it has like such traditional and like old views, you know? It's stupid because you can't avoid politics. It's gotta happen and you can't just, you can't avoid it or else you're just gonna be trying to live under a rock even when the world's passing you. And it's so stupid. A blank a blanket ban on anything of this nature, of course, an act on both sidesism and false equivalence between frequently unlike concept, leftism or outright fascism, however,